Thank you, Vijay Prabhu, for inviting us, Kish and myself, to do a little kirtan. This whatever are in the books, in Srila Prabhupada's books, ultimately it's meant to bring us all to chant Hare Krishna. So there's the Mridanga, then there's the Brihad Mridanga. And they're very related. Kirtan and books and prasadam. So please chant with us. Please chant loudly.
Hare Krishna. Is anyone in the audience from Delhi? Okay, so Mohan Rupai here? What's that? I thought he always this time. Hare Krishna. Om Jnana That's my Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So as you know, today we're going to be recognizing those temples and devotees who worked hard to distribute Srila Prabhupada's books. How many Russians in the audience?
How many what?
Russians. Do we have translation?
Yeah.
How do you like and translate?
Чуть-чуть. Микрофон, может микрофон? Сюда принесите. А что, тут новорусский? Конечно, одни русские.
Any good? You can translate?
Yes. Там лучше с микрофоном. Ну так не все будут.
Так все будут слышать.
Микрофон можно? Все.
Там матаджи сидят много.
Да, не все будут.
Вот там все сидят.
Микрофон. Он еще
Надо настаивать.
Не, туда. На сцену.
Пусть идет, а не лучше там.
Hare Krishna. So Aniruddha, are you translating? Can you come up and translate? Vijay, is it okay if we translate? That will take double the time. Or you can have those who don't understand English sit in the back and you can. So, as all of you know, Prabhupada encouraged book distribution. Why did he encourage book distribution? this service of preaching was encouraged by the Lord Himself. In the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains that the dearest devotee is one who preaches my glories. And there will never be anyone more dear than him. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also encouraged this activity of preaching. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed his devotees to go house to house with the message, Bolo Krishna, Bhajo Krishna, Koro Krishna Siksha. Chant the names of the Krishna, worship the Lord, and follow His instructions. And there's so many wonderful pastimes of the Lord and His devotees where we see that the emphasis is on preaching. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had a devotee called Vasudeva Vipra who was suffering from leprosy. He was so compassionate that when a worm would fall off his body, he would lift it and put it back in his body. Anyway, Lord Chaitanya embraced him and his disease was gone and he became a handsome young man. He was concerned that he may become proud. So he asked Lord Chaitanya, what should I do to remain humble? And Lord Chaitanya said, chant and preach the glories of chanting the holy name. And Srila Prabhupada, in the purport of the story, explains, just like Vasudeva Vipra was saved, the devotees of this Krishna conscious movement have also been saved, and they should all chant and preach the glories of the holy name. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed and encouraged preaching. And then Thakur Bhakti Vinod, the great Acharya, wrote a book on the life of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and sent this book to universities around the world. And I know at least in one university, Bengal University, Montreal, this book was there till at least 1967. Maybe it's still there. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur was the first big book distributor. He sent his book to universities around the world. And then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur also encouraged this activity of preaching. He set up printing presses and he would send his followers, disciples, to go and distribute these books. And they would just distribute few books and come back and he would be very happy. So Bhaktisiddhanta in the first meeting with Prabhupada encouraged him to take this mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the Western countries. And once when Bhaktisiddhanta was leading a Brajbandha Parikram, Prabhupada met him in Radhakund, where Bhaktisiddhanta drew the picture from Mridanga and said, this, if Krishna gives you facility, print and distribute books. And he gave this service the name of Brihad Mridanga. Brihad means big, and Mridanga we all know. And why did Bhaktisiddhanta call this service Brihad Mridanga? Because when you distribute a book, you may distribute it in one location, but it can be read thousands of miles away. In other words, the message can travel thousands of miles. So Bhaktisiddhanta planted in Prabhupada the importance of printing and distributing books. And Srila Prabhupada started in 1944 the Bhakti Garden magazine, and he started translating, publishing, printing, and distributing these books. Prabhupada later on moved to the Radha Damodar temple in Vrindavan, where Prabhupada translated the first canto of the Bhagavatam. Prabhupada was one-man army. He would translate the books then take a tanga and go to Mathura and come in a third-class compartment of a train to Delhi. Then take a rickshaw and go to the place where the books were being printed. And after they were printed, he would personally go and distribute these books in the libraries. The story goes that once on a hot day, he was distributing his Back to Godhead magazine in downtown Delhi. And it was so hot, he had a stroke and he fainted. But as soon as he came back to consciousness, he started distributing these books again. So Prabhupada started printing and book distribution. And besides translating, printing, distributing, Prabhupada had to also travel to collect funds to finance the printing of this book, of these books. So Prabhupada took this order from his spiritual master very seriously. And after Prabhupada established ISKCON, he also encouraged his disciples to distribute books. So there are so many wonderful quotes from Prabhupada in which he talks about the importance of book distribution. Prabhupada said, if you want to please me, distribute my books. What?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama.
Vivo!
Come in. So Prabhupada, when he went to the West and established ISKCON, he instructed his disciples to distribute his books. Why did Prabhupada encourage us to distribute books? Because these books contain transcendental knowledge. And with the help of this transcendental knowledge, ignorance gets destroyed. The Vaishnavas are paradukha dukhi. When they see others in distress, they know that they can find real happiness only by taking to Krishna consciousness. Therefore, the Vaishnavas are always desirous of presenting Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada used to say, if you talk to someone for a few minutes, he'll hear and forget. But if you give him a book, people will read it and get inspired to take the spiritual life. So Prabhupada, after establishing ISKCON, he concentrated on translating his books while the whole world will sleep. Prabhupada would get up in the night at 10 o'clock, 10:30 and translate all night till the morning. And Prabhupada, within a short time, translated his books. And these books have now been translated in more than 70 languages around the world. And people all over the world are reading these books and getting guidance for the purpose of human life. So book distribution is our most important activity. There are many types of services one can engage in, but the most important of these services is preaching. Therefore, in ISKCON, we hear the slogan, preaching is the essence, books are the basis. So for all types of services, preaching is most important. And the essence of preaching is getting people to read these books. Prabhupada himself would preach, and after preaching he would encourage people to buy these books. So it is very important that if we want ISKCON to be healthy, we Hare Krishna. It's very important that we all concentrate on book distribution. Book distribution is a service that can be done by everyone. Sometimes we think that this service can only be done by full-time brahmacharis or brahmacharis. But actually this service can be done by everyone. And there's a letter from Prabhupada where he says that every devotee in ISKCON should be trained in book distribution. Because book distribution is our most important activity. Here in Vrindavan, during his last days, Prabhupada, sitting in his garden, told us, as long as book distribution goes on, I will never die. Why? Because through these books, Prabhupada is presenting the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. What do these books contain? The words of the Supreme Lord and the explanation by the great acharyas. When Prabhupada would be translating these books, he would have in front of him the commentaries of the previous acharyas. Prabhupada would read these commentaries, take the essence, add what was necessary, and he presented them to us in the form of Bhaktivedanta purpose. And Prabhupada wanted us not only to distribute these books, but he also wanted us to study these books. Prabhupada said, when Krishna sees that you are studying his books, he is very pleased. Why? Krishna sees, here is someone trying to understand me. So let me give him the understanding by which he can come to me. That's why Prabhupada encouraged studying these books also. And it's nice to see that so many educational programs are being taught at ISKCON, thus enabling devotees all over the world to study Prabhupada's books. So, enthusiasm is essential for succeeding on this task. I had once arranged a display of Prabhupada's books in a prominent store in Bombay, bookstore. And even after a month's promotion, not many books were sold. So I went to Prabhupada with a message that in spite of all this heavy promotion, we could not sell too many books. And Prabhupada said, my books are distributed because of the enthusiasm of my disciples. And in these bookstores, naturally the salesmen are not enthusiastic. So we have seen all over the world that where devotees are enthusiastic, they have good success. And Prabhupada gave us the slogan, purity is the force. So the strength to preach, the strength to become a good book distributor is based upon our surrender to the principles of purity. In other words, if you want to be a good preacher, good book distributor, we should also have good sadhana. Make sure we chant around attentively. Make sure we attend the morning program. And if you have good sadhana and attentive chanting and studying Prabhupada's books, then you're guaranteed to be enthusiastic and with determination engage in this task of book distribution. Amongst the various services that one can do, book distribution definitely is one of the difficult services. Because when you go out to distribute a book, there's no guarantee that the other person is going to react positively. Many times when devotees go out on book distribution, they have to approach so many people, and then they may find someone who takes a book. So Krishna is always testing us, but when Krishna sees that we are determined, sincere, Krishna gives us success. So this activity of book distribution is our most important activity, and by practicing good sadhana, we get the strength to succeed in this very important task of book distribution. Also, book distribution is unlimited. Sometimes devotees think, oh, last year I did this marathon, I went to all my contacts, who am I going to go to this year? Our experience is, when devotees are sincere and they want to please Prabhupada, then Krishna sends them opportunities to distribute these books. So we should have faith that these books will save humanity. Prabhupada said these books will one day become the law books of the world. And in other words, the people will have respect for what is stated in these books. And by distributing these books, we're inspiring people to take to Krishna consciousness. These books are like bombs that can explode at any time. There is a story that once somebody bought a Bhagavad Gita in India in 1980, and for nearly 15 years, he never opened that book. He almost had no faith in the Bhagavad Gita. But once, about 15 years later, he was in a very depressed condition, and he was so depressed, he saw the Bhagavad Gita, started reading it, and he started reading it. He got so inspired by the message. Then he started associating with devotees, and later on became an initiated devotee. And for 15 years nearly, he didn't even open the book. So we should not think, okay, we've just read 100 books today, so tomorrow there will be 100 new bhaktas coming in. You never know when these books will be read. And Krishna is pleased, the acharyas are pleased, Prabhupada is pleased when we engage in this very important task. And this service is relished by everyone. For example, in Delhi, the marathon, we had nearly 3,000 devotees who lived at home in their jobs who took part in the marathon. These devotees took time off from their jobs, went house to house, put up tables in malls, contacted people for sponsorships, and working together, they were able to achieve a good score. So the point is that this book distribution service can be done by everyone. And this is a service for the benefit of humanity. Prahlad Maharaj used to say that I'm not worried about my own liberation, but I'm worried about those who are trying to convert a position of distress to a position of comfort. So I just want to use this opportunity to request all of you to please dedicate yourselves to book distribution. This is a service can be done in any part of the world, and this is service for the benefit of humanity. Sometimes devotees say, I'm very shy, I've never gone out, never gone on the streets, how will I face someone? But when Krishna sees that you're sincerely making an attempt, Krishna will give you the intelligence and the success. Once a devotee asked Prabhupada, how can I be humble and still preach at the same time? The Prabhupada said you should be a lamb at home and a lion outside. But don't become a lion at home and a lamb outside. So when you're dealing with Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, you should be very gentle, humble. But when you go to preach, you should be like a lion. So it is nice to see that in many parts of the world book distribution is increasing. Of course, the sky is the limit. In America, book distribution has gone up now. In India too, book distribution didn't increase so much, but in India, in some temples, it's already at a pretty high rate. And in many other, in Russia also, book distribution went up last year. So devotees all over the world are recognizing the value of book distribution and enthusiastically taking part in this activity because they know that Prabhupada wanted us to distribute books, our acharyas wanted us to preach, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted us to preach, and Lord Shri Krishna wanted us to preach. And preaching is the essence and the most important service for all Vaishnavas. So I'm very happy to be here. We've had the privilege of being here on this occasion for the past several years. And I want to thank Vijay Prabhu, our Minister for book distribution, for doing his best to encourage book distribution. But book distribution is a service that should be encouraged by all the leaders. The devotees, when they see that the leaders are enthusiastic, then they also get inspired to engage in book distribution. When they see that the spiritual masters are talking about book distribution, when they see that the GVCs are talking about book distribution, when they see that the temple presidents are talking about book distribution, then the devotees in the temples feel, yes, this service is very important. And we have so many wonderful quotes from Prabhupada which emphasize the importance of book distribution. The BVT has also published these quotes in a small book, which I'm sure most of you have. And we should regularly read these quotes. By regularly reading these quotes from Prabhupada, emphasizing book distribution, you all get inspired to engage in this very important activity. And this activity is for the pleasure of our acharyas and Prabhupada. And we all have experience. So the main reason why devotees come to Krishna consciousness is due to these books and devotee association. We associate with the devotees and we associate with the books, and by reading these books and associating with devotees, we can maintain our spiritual life. So all of you please be enthusiastic for this important service, and we should try to increase book distribution. And as we increase book distribution, Prabhupada will be preaching to these conditioned souls and giving them the auspicious path of devotional service. So thank you very much. Sankirtan Yagya ki, Hare Krishna.
Gopal Krishna Maharaj ki. So Maharaj is speaking about how the leaders in our society should also be enthusiastic about book distribution, and the people, the disciples, and those who are followers of that leader, they'll be inspired. So Gopal Krishna Maharaj, he's the epitome of leaders who inspire book distribution. And therefore New Delhi is #1 every year practically. And Russia also. America almost beat Russia last year, but Russia beat us again, So this is due to the enthusiasm of Gopal Krishna Maharaj. Gopal Krishna Maharaj, Prabhu ki jai.
In Russia, there's several leaders encouraging it. Huh? No, what?
So we'd like to have Niranjana Swami. He started book distribution in 1973, and he did book distribution for many, many years. He was the Sankirtan leader in Boston, and he also is a leader that is always encouraging his disciples and those who are working under him to distribute books. So let's give a good round of applause to Niranjana Swami.
Om Jnana Timirandasya Vinanjana Sulakaya Chakshu Unminitamina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Ukam Karoti Vachalam Bangum Mangayate Gani Yad Kripa Tamaham Bande Shri Gurum Dinatananam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pacharane Nirvishesha Shanyavari Pastichade Sitarane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So I'd like first, before I begin speaking, to thank Vijay Prabhu for being very dedicated to organize this event here in Mayapur every year, and for his service that he's performing for our whole society as the Sankirtan Book Distribution Minister, which he does very faithfully, very enthusiastically, and very effectively. And as Gopal Krishna Maharaj, who also very nicely spoke about the importance of book distribution in our movement, saying that it's our most important activity. And he gave so many reasons and examples of how Prabhupada himself also emphasized book distribution, and how he personally himself took part in all the activities of book distribution, from translating, and then in the earlier years himself also publishing and printing and distributing himself. No, I have a garland and I've already disposed of it, so please don't give me another one. Garlands and I don't get along too well, I'm allergic to them. And Vijay Prabhu has kept the spirit very much alive by always reminding the devotees wherever he travels about the importance of keeping this spirit alive in our Krishna consciousness movement. Because actually, it is the symptom of life. We oftentimes use the example about life's necessities, or the necessity of life. Prabhupada refers to this in many places in his teachings about the necessity of life. And whenever we hear about the necessity of life, generally we think about necessities which are required for maintaining life in the body. Food, air, the sunlight. We consider these things as necessities for life. But when we actually analyze, although we use this expression, necessities of life, actually these things, food, air, sunlight, are necessities for maintaining life within the body. But as we know, the fundamental teachings of Bhagavad Gita help us to understand that life has its own existence outside the body. And therefore, if we're talking about necessities of life, we should understand that life has its own necessities, which has nothing to do with the body. What is the necessity of life? The necessity of life is to serve. That is life's necessity. And if we want to take that to the highest type of service that one can render, Gopal Krishna Maharaj already alluded to the verse where Krishna speaks in the Bhagavad Gita in the Chatasman Manushishu Kaschin Me Priya Kritama. Where he says that there is no servant in this world who is more dear to me than he, nor will there ever be one more dear. And he's referring to Ya Idam Paramam Guyam. But for one who explains this secret, this instructions of Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, for him, devotional service is guaranteed at the end. He comes back to me. There's no servant in this world who is more dear to me than he, nor will there ever be one more dear. So, if the necessity of life is beyond simply the food, air, sunlight, clothing, shelter that requires to maintain life within the body, if we understand it as service, then we should know that the ultimate service is that which is pleasing to the Lord. And therefore, as Krishna himself states in Bhagavad Gita, there's no servant more dear to me than one who gives this message to others. We can understand this is a symptom of life in our Krishna consciousness movement, when devotees are individually and collectively organizing to keep the Krishna consciousness movement alive and healthy through the distribution of Srila Prabhupada's transcendental literature. Srila Prabhupada's books transform people's lives. And it's not an event or a phenomenon that only took place during Prabhupada's presence. But actually, we have personally experienced, and everyone has experienced, how Srila Prabhupada's books continue to change people's lives. I oftentimes think, and I tell this story, maybe Gopal Krishna Maharaj might be interested to hear this story, because it took place in Montreal, which is, he probably even knows the person I'm talking about. And he was very much a very, very active preacher in Montreal, I believe still is. But I remember once when I was visiting in Montreal some time ago, I was sitting in the temple and I was writing my Vyasa Puja offering, or attempting to write my Vyasa Puja offering, which was due the next day. And I was sitting behind my computer, and maybe some of you have this experience, I do sometimes. You sit there and you look at the screen for quite some time and try to figure out where to start. You know, I've got to start somewhere, and then sometimes it just doesn't come very quickly. You have to really think hard and think about what you really want to say in the Vyasa Puja offering. So I was sitting there for quite some time, and nothing had come out yet. And then one devotee, the temple president at that time, came into my room and said, "Maharaj, there's a gentleman here at the temple he's coming to speak to the devotees." He said, "I thought it might be good if you would speak to him." So I told him, I said, "Prabhu, I'm really busy. I finished my Vyasa Puja offering. Tomorrow's the deadline. And maybe you can find somebody else." He said, "Oh, Maharaj, he only maybe has a few questions to ask. Why don't you just give him a few minutes?" So after a little encouragement from him, I decided I would go to meet this gentleman. And then I went into the front reception room and sat down. As soon as I sat down, the gentleman began speaking. about himself. And he was telling me how he had formerly been I believe the captain of the police force in Montreal. He was the captain or the commissioner, one or the other. And he said that he was captain during the time that Srila Prabhupada had come to Montreal to visit the devotees, and it just so happened to be in the airport at that time when the devotees received him. And then he said that actually your Srila Prabhupada, I could see right at that time, was a very pure person, saintly person. He says, and I oftentimes think back, what would have happened if I would have moved into the temple and joined and become his disciple back then? And he said, I think back, what would have probably happened? He said, my life would probably be much different now, and I regret that I didn't do it. And then he said, but still, he said, I have this Bhagavad Gita. He reached in his pocket and he pulled out Prabhupada's Gita. He had a small version. He said, because I have this Bhagavad Gita, he says, I feel like I have everything. He says, do you know how many times I've read this Bhagavad Gita? I said, no. He said, I've read this Bhagavad Gita 35 times. I said, 35 times? He said, yes. He said, I don't go anywhere without this Bhagavad Gita. Just as I have it in my pocket now, it's always in my pocket. He said, many times, I have a wife, she likes to go shopping a lot. And usually when wives go shopping, sometimes you have to sit in the car and wait. So, he said, whenever my wife goes shopping, she says to me, you know, I could take some time. He says, take as long as you want. I've got my Bhagavad Gita. I'm just going to sit here and read my Bhagavad Gita. He says, I've probably read it 35 times because my wife does a lot of shopping. And he said, and then he just went on glorifying Prabhupada. And I was sitting there and I was thinking, I was asked to come in here because this gentleman had some questions I thought he had to ask, but he wouldn't let me speak for a minute. He just went on continuously for at least 30 minutes glorifying Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, and his enthusiasm for reading Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, and how Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita changed his life. This elderly gentleman, I'd say he probably at that time when I was speaking to him, he was probably in his late 60s. And then after 30 minutes of just talking and my listening, he went to the front door of the temple and he was about to leave. He said, actually my wife is shopping right now and I have to go pick her up. And he said, she's waiting for me probably, and she's probably wondering where I am, but I thought I would come here instead of reading Prabhupada's Gita. I would come and just see the devotees today because we were shopping nearby. And then as he stood by the door, holding the doorknob, he said, you know, my wife and I, every night, together we read Prabhupada Lilamrita. He said, I've also read Prabhupada Lilamrita so many times. And then he went on telling me stories from Prabhupada Lilamrita. And he stood by the door for about another 15 minutes, just telling me stories from Prabhupada Lilamrita. And then after, he thanked me very much. I don't know what for. And then he left. And then I went back into the room, and then I realized that Krishna wrote my Vyasa Puja offering that year. It was all right there in that last 45 minutes. In fact, I had 1 hour to write the Vyasa Puja offering because I had to give a class, and that 1 hour was gone because of the time I spent with this gentleman. But nonetheless, this is just one example of somebody's life, an important person's life, who is transformed by Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita. He had such deep affection for Prabhupada, and you could see that his life was changed. This way we see that Srila Prabhupada's books change people's lives even after Prabhupada has departed. And not only do they change people's lives, but actually the pleasure and the satisfaction the devotees get from distributing his books. Or those who did, just as Vijay Prabhu said, that yes, I did distribute books back in the 70s. I had the opportunity during those years of going out and distributing 8 to 10 hours a day, when Srila Prabhupada was placing a lot of emphasis on the importance of distributing his books. And I was traveling and distributing books in a van and going out sometimes for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks at a time, and come back to the temple to load up our van, get more books and to go out. And I remember in 1975 when Srila Prabhupada said to the devotees who travel in vans and distribute my books, they get my extra special mercy. And I was thinking at that time that I'm getting so much mercy now, and Prabhupada wants to give extra special mercy? And all of us, we were in the Sankirtan party at that time, when we got this quote, we looked at each other and said, we want that extra special mercy. And so it was at that time, all of us, we decided that we would go out 7 days a week and distribute every single day, because we wanted that extra special mercy. And obviously, anybody who really meditates on Prabhupada's pleasure in distributing his books, there's an internal satisfaction which is very palpable, very real, unmistakable. And you know that that satisfaction that Srila Prabhupada gives from being pleased for the devotees who are voluntarily accepting the austerity to distribute his books is a special type of higher pleasure that's beyond any other experience of this world. In fact, I was just reading recently a purport in the 9th canto of the Bhagavatam where Prabhupada was speaking about Maharaj Ambarish, and he was giving commentary. This verse was about how Maharaj Ambarish was engaged in devotional service, and by that devotional service he was performing a severe type of austerity. And Prabhupada in the commentary says in our Krishna consciousness movement, she said that there are all different varieties of services one can perform which are a type of severe austerity. And he gave the example, he says, just like devotees who are preaching, preparing literature, preaching to atheistic men, and distributing transcendental literature from door to door. He says this is transcendental austerities. This is the result of accepting these transcendental austerities. He says that one's heart becomes purified. And he quoted the verse, Tapo divyam putraka yena sattvam, the verse from the 5th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. That one who voluntarily accepts austerities, then what happens is his heart becomes purified and he begins to experience a happiness which is transcendental to material happiness and which continues forever. So Prabhupada specifically cited, he said these types of activities are austerities that we should voluntarily accept, purify our existence. He said, and then the result of becoming purified is that one becomes transcendentally happy. So this pleasure of pleasing Srila Prabhupada is just as accessible today as it was 30, 40 years ago. when the devotees were going out accepting those austerities to distribute his books and to please him. And therefore, this austerity is also the life of a Brahmin. Prabhupada used to say the austerities are the lives of the Brahmins, to voluntarily accept some inconvenience for the sake of the people in general, as described in the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is considered to be the highest method of worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This verse was spoken about Lord Shiva when he took an ocean of poison and he held it in his throat. He voluntarily accepted that inconvenience for the sake of the people in general. And the verse states that one who voluntarily accepts inconveniences for the sake of the people in general, this is considered to be the highest method of worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srila Prabhupada gave us that austerity by giving us the opportunity to go out and distribute his transcendental literatures and to meet atheistic men, to go door to door in our attempt to distribute transcendental literature. And therefore, we see and we are grateful to all of you and those who are not here as well, who are keeping this most important activity in the forefront of our Krishna Consciousness Society. And we thank you and express our gratitude to you for keeping our Krishna Consciousness movement in a very healthy condition. This is the sign of health. This is the sign of life. This is life's necessity. This necessity can only be understood by the devotees who realize how important it is to perform this activity. This is a person who is severely sick. He has some physical ailment. He knows he needs a particular type of medication to make the body healthy. Yes, that's a necessity of making the body healthy so that life can remain in the body. But for spiritual life, every devotee should know that our necessity is to please Srila Prabhupada. That is our necessity of life. That's what will make us happy. That's what will make us purified. And that's what will give meaning to our life. So tonight is a night where we're going to recognize those devotees who've embraced this activity, and we thank them for their efforts for continuing Srila Prabhupada's mission, and we pray that by your enthusiasm and by your example and by your attraction to perform this service, you will also inspire devotees in future generations as well to continue this mission which Srila Prabhupada passed on as his legacy for all his followers for the next 10,000 years. Thank you very much.
Niranjana Swami ki. Om Jnanatam Anandasya Jnananjana Sadakaya Chakshram Maritam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurani Mukham Kultabhatavam Pumi Manghatavim Lakshipataram Shri Gram Vedadam Vanchakapatri Kripasandhibhyevacha Parithanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came to teach Jiva Doya, Vaishnava Seva, and Nam Ruchi. But mainly he came to teach compassion for the living entities. And he was he's Patita Pavana, Hetu Tava Avatar. He's the most merciful. Oh, by the way, Gopal Krishna Maharaj, he's coming back. He's just going for a few minutes, so he'll be right back. For those of you that don't know. So, Lord Chaitanya is very, very merciful. You know, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, in the last chapter, there's the Shikshashtika. But in between these Shikshashtika verses, there's a very nice verse. Actually, there's many very nice verses in between the Shikshashtaka verses. And one of them is, Prema Dana Vanavyate Daridra Jivan. That if one does not have love of God in their life, then they are considered to be poor souls, Daridra Jivan. So, what we're doing in this book distribution is we're trying to help people become wealthy souls. People are very poor now, actually. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he said, I wish that every member of our society shed 200 gallons of blood to show mercy to the living entities who are spiritual corpses. He said spiritual corpses, they're practically dead. So we're trying to help them come alive. Not only come alive, but become wealthy spiritually. And this is what book distribution does. This helps them become very wealthy. Now, even someone who's a millionaire or billionaire, if they don't have love of Krishna, then they're poor. They're poverty-stricken. So in this verse, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he goes on to say, therefore, my dear Lord Krishna, please engage me in your service, and all I want is salary. All I want is payment, is love for you. So this is real wealth, to have love for Krishna. And people do not know what is love now. What they think is lust. So real love is the love between the living entity and Krishna. So this book distribution, it helps people wake up to this reality. Actually, everybody has love for Krishna. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhu Kavanoi Shravanadi Sudha Chitti Korya Yudoy. That this love of Krishna is there in the hearts of all living entities. It just has to be reawoken. And how is it reawoken? By hearing. They have to hear about Krishna, just like all of us. Previously we had no attraction to Krishna. But then we read Srila Prabhupada's books, and then all of a sudden this attraction is there, by hearing. Hearing is so important. This is how people will wake up to this reality. And people, it's like people have amnesia, they've forgotten who they are. I'll tell you an interesting story that happened. A friend of mine in Southern California, this student going to school, and he's riding his bike, and he fell down. When he got up, he completely lost memory, didn't know who he was, didn't know where he lived, nothing. Imagine that. Everything completely erased. So he picked up the bike, thinking, well, this must be my bike. I just fell down, I just stood up, and the bike is down, so he picked it up and he's walking his bike. So as he's walking his bike, a devotee sees him. And he asked him, excuse me, where are you from? And this student said, good question, I don't know. I just wrecked my bike and stood up. My memory is completely blank. I don't know anything. My name, where I live, what I do, nothing. And the devotee said, well, I'll tell you who you are. You're the eternal servant of Krishna. And he said, well, at least I know something now. So then this devotee was very kind, so he understood the awkward situation. So he took him under his wing, and he took him to his flat, to his apartment, and he trained him up in Krishna consciousness. And he became a devotee. He became a book distributor. And he still distributes books. So this is the result of book distribution, that people wake up from their amnesia. Just like we also had amnesia. Now, fortunately, we've come in contact with Srila Prabhupada's books. And sometimes also we still have that amnesia, we forget sometimes that we're the eternal servant of Krishna, but gradually we're waking up. But the people out there, they're completely asleep. So what we're doing when we distribute books is we're giving them an opportunity to wake up. And it's stated, Priti Viti Achayata Nagaradigan Sarva Charpachoy Hoyo Morinam. that the name of Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the mercy, the Jiva Doya, the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the living entities, that's going to be distributed all over the world. This is the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. There was one devotee, this is back in the 1930s, there was one devotee, disciple of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who read this verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita and he couldn't understand. How is it possible that Lord Chaitanya's name will be spread to every town and village in the world? He just, how is this possible? So there was a meeting of devotees at Prabhupada's home. They used to call him Abhay Babu at that time, before he was initiated. So there were some disciples there of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, some senior devotees. And this devotee that was curious about this verse, he asked all of them, what do you think of this verse? Priti Biti Achidati Nakarajram, that Lord Chaitanya's name will be spread throughout every town and village in the world. So he got different answers from each of them, but he wasn't real satisfied. And then he asked Abhay Babu, Prabhupada. He was the last one because he was the most junior at that time. So he was very adamant, yes, we have to have faith in the words of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is scripture, that this will happen, that Lord Chaitanya's name will be spread to every town and village throughout the world. So this devotee was very impressed with Abhay Babu's conviction that this is going to happen. So fast forward, early 70s, this same godbrother, Srila Prabhupada, he was in one town in India, and he saw a Western devotee with dhoti, kurta, tilak, bead bag. He had never seen this before, so he went up to him and he said, excuse me, where are you from? He said, oh, I'm from America. You're from America? But you're dressed like this. How is this? Oh, this is the mercy of my Guru. Oh, okay. Now, who is your Guru? So we had a Bhagavad Gita there. He showed the picture of Prabhupada. And this person, he looked at the picture. Abhay Babu, you did it! You did it! So Prabhupada did it. Srila Prabhupada ki jai! And he's still doing it. He reasons ill who say that Vaishnavas die while still living in sound. The Vaishnavas die to live, and living spread the holy name around. So Prabhupada is alive in his books. Actually, one time he said, my books are better than me, because I put everything in my books. So we're giving people Prabhupada, and we're giving people Krishna. When we're distributing books, we're not distributing paper and ink. We're distributing diamonds and gold. Because in a purport, Prabhupada says that if you have a diamond and you have a gold ring and you put them together, it's very nice. So Krishna is compared to a diamond. And the pure devotee, Srila Prabhupada, is compared to gold. So this combination is very nice. And this is what we're distributing. Gold and diamonds. And people are benefiting. We're benefiting, they're benefiting, and therefore the mercy is flowing all over the world. This is the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Maharaj, Gopal Krishna Maharaj was speaking about how books are the basis. I looked this word up in the dictionary. Basis means foundation. Books, book distribution is the foundation of the society. If you have a strong foundation, then you have a strong society. It's like this, we're building this Adbhuta Mandir here. So it has a very, very, very strong foundation. I asked Sadbhuj Prabhu, how many stone, what do you call those, piles? Yeah. 2,600 of these stones are smashed down into the ground. He said they go down 62 feet. A very strong foundation. So this movement is very big also. So it needs a very strong foundation. And Prabhupada one time he said, if you don't continue this book distribution, then eventually there will no longer be any Hari Hari Bo. This movement is going on because of this preaching, this mood of Srila Prabhupada, the mood of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who said that if you have life, then you'll preach. So on the opposite, if you don't have life, you won't preach. So if you're alive, then you'll preach. And when you go out and you distribute books, you preach, then the teachings of Krishna, they become alive. Because you have to live the teachings. When we go out on book distribution, we have to be tolerant, we have to be compassionate. The whole philosophy comes alive. We have to see them as spirit souls. So it's such a wonderful activity. It's so beneficial for society, it's so beneficial for us. And I want to thank all of you for doing this glorious activity. Every year we're increasing. So this is the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now soon we'll be at the 500 million, 500 million books distributed throughout the world. Jai, Prabhupada ki jai. So this is the mercy. 500 million, yes. But we still have a lot more. There's still 6.5 billion people that don't have Prabhupada's books. So in Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he said there should not be a door on this planet that has not been knocked on. Every door on this planet should be knocked on and given an opportunity to receive these transcendental literatures. So on that note, we'll stop. Thank you very much. And now we're going to have some awards given to the devotees who are most dedicated to this book distribution. Parameshwar Prabhu, could you send one more devotee up to help with the distribution of the prizes? So. Kavichandra Swami, would you like to come up please and distribute the transcendental prizes? Kavichandra Maharaj ki jai. Hare Krishna. You see that? You'll find out. So, first we're going to invite the temple devotees that are certain temples, and then we'll do the individual score. One thing I wanted to mention to all of you, Srila Prabhupada, he relished hearing the book scores right up to his last days. All he wanted to hear was the book results. So many letters are coming in, but that's the only thing he wanted to hear. Each individual, not the the total of the temples, each individual devotee, he wanted to hear their scores. So Prabhupada loved this. So it's something that we could appreciate also. So on the
And Prabhupada is still reading the scores on the devotees of this score.
So first we're going to start off with the Maha Small Temples. So the number 3 Maha Small Temple with 7,832 book points. Heidelberg, Germany. There's someone here from Heidelberg. Or, no, here we go.
следующий год, первый, он об этом город прибрал. Он мне сам начал проповедовать. Сказки о притве.
Prabhu, over here. So for those of you who are coming up, please start over here with Niranjana Swami, and he's going to give you a garland. And you get the gift. Okay. So number 2, Mahasmal, with 10,174 book points, Czech Republic. Some of the, is there someone there from Czech Republic? Yeah? Anybody? No, okay. It's a small country. Okay. Number 1, Mahasmal Temple. This temple has been the number 1 Mahasmal temple for the past 4 years. So with 26,148 book points, Kanyakumari Temple. They're fired up. So now with the small temples. Okay, so at number 3, small temple, with 109,449 book points, Rupanuga Vedic College. And this will be received by Parameshwar Prabhu. He is the general in America. He heads a traveling Sankirtan party that goes all over America, distributing thousands and thousands of books. A great inspiration to our society. There you go. Thank you. Yes, every year it's increasing. And Parameshwar Prabhu, he is a big cause of that. A very great example for our devotees. No. So now, number 2, small temples with 137,764 book points, Surat, India. Is anybody here from Surat? Okay, that'll be taken by Gopal Krishna Maharaj, who is the GBC there. Maharaj is going to get a lot of prasadam up there. Okay, now, number 1. In the small temple category with 215,996 book points, Italy, TSKP. Is anybody here from Italy? No, we have nobody here from Italy. Okay. Arrivederci. Okay. Number 3 in the medium temple, with 127,248 book points, Pandharpur, India. Radhika here? Is she here? Please come. Please come. Please come. I have good news for Radhika also. We have prizes. Unfortunately, she was ill. She's actually a very, very big book distributor, but she was ill last year, some of the months. So she was only able to report 6 months. Is he from Kanyakumari? He's from Kanyakumari? I mean, thank you. Hare Krishna. So number 2, in the medium temple category, with 244,745 book points, Ahmedabad, India. Okay, Maharaj will accept that one also. He's getting a lot of mercy here today. So, number 1, medium temple, with 532,852 book points, Punjabi Bagh. Thank you very much. Yeah.
So Rukmini Krishna is the president of Punjabi Bagh, and he himself worked very hard in the marathon, and he himself goes out cultivating people and encouraging book distribution.
Wow. Now, number 3, in the large temple category, with 510,804 book points, Mumbai, India. Anybody here from Mumbai? Or Juhu? No Juhu devotees here? All right, Mara's going to accept that one also. Okay, number 2 in the large temple category with 776,945 book points, Mayapur Chandradoya Mandir. Okay.
Hare Krishna. Mayapur has the biggest Sankirtan army in its court. They have 10 buses and nearly 100 brahmacharis doing book distribution all year around. So a few days ago we had a ceremony honoring the Mayapur temple Sankirtan devotees, and I told them, now the newsletter showed you number 2, you're actually number 1, but you're distributing books all year round.
Thank you, Prabhu. The number 1. Where's the Mridanga roll? Okay, yeah, good. Number 1 temple in the world. With 1 million. I don't know if anybody's ever done 1 million. Amazing. 1,025,016 book points. New Delhi, India.
personally very grateful to Mohan Rupa Prabhu. He's the temple president. He's a good example and he encourages book distribution and he actually participates in book distribution. And I also want to thank Rakesh Oberoi, who teams up with Madhu Mohan Rupa in doing big book distribution. They cultivate important people and they get bulk orders. So thank you very much, Rakesh Oberoi. And we want to thank Madhusudan Prabhu. Where is Madhusudan? Madhusudan Prabhu is so dedicated to book distribution that he goes out 7 days a week, 365 days a year in book distribution. And you don't have to push him. He does it on his own. So thank you very much.
Now we have a new category that we've never done before. I was looking on the newsletter and I found this amazing score of full sets distributed in 1 year. So there's a devotee that distributed 526 full sets last year. And his name is Pushpa Gopal Das from Mayapur, India.
Корона.
Now, these are the crowns from Ashtashakis. Now, the individual category. Number 10. With 45,586 book points, Vraja Sundar from Italy. He's not here either, but we'll get it. Number 9, with 46,051 book points, Damodar Sundar from Punjabibad. Okay. Thank you. Number 8, with 46,878 book points, Vichitra Krishna Das from New Delhi. Is he here? All right. Better half. The wife will receive the, yeah.
Vichitra Krishna and his wife, along with the congregation, they have a big congregation working with them. They took a lot of time off to do book distribution in the marathon month.
Right. Thank you. Now, number 7, with 47,103 book points, Keshava Balaram Das from Punjabibad.
Mr. Balam Das from Punjabi Bagh is also very dedicated to book distribution and goes every day on book distribution.
Okay, number 6. With 50,924 book points, Nabagora Das from Tirupati. Is there anybody here from Tirupati? Yes, okay. Tirupati is a very great example of book distribution. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Number 5 was 73,518 book points. Tirtha Krishna Das from Tirupati. He's also, this is also Tirtha Krishna Das. The one that just received the gifts, the same person. Again. Thank you. Now number 4. With 66,750 book points, Niranjana Swami. Is he here? Thank you. Niranjana Swami ki. Number 3 was 73,518 book points. Nityananda from Vidalba. Thank you, Hare Krishna. Now, number 2. With 119,277 book points, Madhusundar from New Delhi.
Madhusundar not only goes out every day of the week on book distribution, he's also great inspiration in book distribution to the devotees in India.
One devotee in New Delhi, he said, Madhusundar, he lives and breathes book distribution. Yeah, number 1. So drum roll. Hey, drum. Drum. Okay. Stop. with 167,924 book points, Bhakti Rakesh. From New Delhi. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Rakesh is dressed up in a suit. Because when he goes to do book distribution to corporates, he goes in suits.
Now just two more. We have some Prabhupada disciples that have been distributing books for 40 years. So we'd like to give some recognition to them as well. Number 3, Prabhupada disciple, with 12,901 book points, Nidra Devi Dasi. She's not here, unfortunately. She's still distributing books. She distributes books in Denver, Colorado. She's a very, very saintly lady, one of the most saintly ladies I've ever met. She goes out on book distribution 6 days a week, and she's like 63 years old. Yeah, give her a hand. And just a couple more words. She wakes up the deities every morning for years. She does the Mangal Arti every morning for years. She gives Bhagavatam class. She's just like an unbelievable lady. Okay, number 2, Prabhupada disciple, with 27,879 book points, and Brigupati Das. He's also been distributing books since 1973, 40 years, in Los Angeles. He's also distributing books now. Number 1, Prabhupada disciple with 66,750 book points, Niranjana Swami. Now, Prabhus, the final mercy of Shushi Radha Madhava. We have a lot of prasadam here left. Come on up, Prabhus, we have prasad. Gopal Krishna Maharaj and Niranjana Swami are going to distribute prasad right from here, so please come.